It's me, Chad Gates, back at it again with a new episode of the Boytime podcast, and as always, I'm joined by Babby. Huh? We have a fun and exciting episode planned, as always. It's been a week. We skipped last week, if you can believe it. What was it? You're working late?
I was, and then I did a U that one week where I just did not listen to anything new. I'm like, I have nothing to add.
That's fair. And I didn't want to just record an episode talking about the two movies I watched before our last podcast, because we'll get there when we get there, I guess. I'm going to be going a little bit out of order. Since we did skip a week, I'm not doing two Elvis movies. I'm not doing that to myself. But I did watch Blue Hawaii, which is probably the one that most people have seen. I think that's his, well, except for maybe Viva Las Vegas. That might be like the most popular one. But most people, at least, I think these days when people think about Elvis, it's either old, sweaty, glitzy Elvis playing in Las Vegas, or it's Elvis with the ukulele and a Hawaiian shirt around two native Hawaiian girls that are in grass skirts and coconut bras with leis around their neck. That's probably the two images of Elvis in the cultural consciousness, if you will. And I will. But we're not going to go there yet. I'm going to be going out of order. I thought it would be really funny to pair Blue Hawaii with a movie that is notoriously disgusting and disturbing, just as like a contrast. But I'm actually going to save that one for last because I think it's the worst movie I've ever seen. And I'm going to go so far as to say if you defend any aspect of this movie, you're a bad person. I detest this movie with every fiber of my being, and I think that its very creation is inherently problematic, for lack of a better term. We're going to save that for the end because I'm going to get peeved just talking about it. So we're actually going to go with the one movie I watched this week's going to be first. And then it'll be Blue Hawaii, and then it'll be the mystery third movie that I won't say until we get there for retention purposes, because I love the algorithm, and the algorithm...
The game.
Exactly right. Got to incentivize watch time. So if you want to hear what the worst movie ever is, then you're going to have to wait and see. But we're going to start off kind of easy. The movie I watched this week was Battle Royale. Mainly because I saw it on Amazon Prime, and I saw the guy who's in it, Takeshi Kitano, who I recognized because Takeshi Kitano is infamous for creating maybe the hardest video game of all time for the Famicom, which is the Japanese equivalent of the NES, called Takeshi's Challenge, where I don't even really remember what the plot of the game is. I think he's just like, hey, solve my game. It's going to be really hard. And then it's just like a bunch of really cryptic, like a 90s PC point and click game where it's like, how was I even supposed to know to do this? It's like that, the game. So I was interested because I'm like, I know this guy from that. I know that he's like a big star in Japan, but that was the only thing that I knew him from being a dumb American. So I thought I would culture myself and check out a film starring Takeshi Kitano. And interestingly, this movie is very, very... it's fucked up, but I'm also going to try to sue Suzanne Collins because she completely fleeced this movie, as the kids say. It's Suzanne Collins made Battle Royale's reheated nachos. Is that what that's what the kids are saying, right?
I've never heard that, but yeah.
Okay. Everyone's saying reheated nachos.
Everyone's saying it.
Everybody is saying it. But the premise of this movie, and let me know if this sounds familiar. A bunch of teenagers are, once a year, they're selected and brought to an island where they all have to fight each other using found weapons, either off the bodies of the people that they kill, or they are given one at the beginning of the game. And it's a battle royale. I think this is actually where the term comes from. So you can thank this movie indirectly for Fortnite existing, which is pretty sick. But yeah, you have to fight everybody. Last person standing gets out, and that's the premise. It's exactly the Hunger Games, like exactly. I was watching this and I'm like, how did she not get sued for this? It is the exact same premise. It's even like semi like dystopian. I know the Hunger Games is like full on dystopia, but this is like, it's government sanctioned. Honestly, I don't really know the like context for this movie, like what was going on in Japan in the year 2000 that like this is a commentary on, or if it's just generally like kids are rebellious and old people don't like that, because that's the gimmick, or that's why it started, is that I guess a bunch of teenagers like tried to rebel against the government, or not even that. They just wanted to like rebel against their parents, just like normal teenage things. And instead of like, I guess I don't know what the equivalent to taking away their phone would be in the year 2000. I guess it still could be taking away the little flip phone or a BlackBerry.
Tamagotchi.
A Tamagotchi. Sure. Instead of taking those away, they're like, that's it. I'm going to pass a law where one class every year, one ninth grade class is chosen every year, and they all have to kill each other. That's a law. I will say it's a little bit like foggy as to the world building is a little bit shaky, mainly because the movie starts and it's the previous year. We're seeing the winner from the previous year essentially like as after everything's done. She's coming home and there's a bunch of like press people that are like, oh, it's a girl. A girl won this year. That's crazy. This is we're breaking down the Battle Royale 1999 or whatever. And so you would assume from that like this is a well-known thing. It's widely reported. Kids would be scared. Like if you're 15 and you're in ninth grade or 14 or whatever, and like you would, I think in the back of my head, I would be like, okay, but when, like, are they going to pick us today or is it not? Like that would be really nerve-wracking for that whole year. But when we eventually see the class that gets chosen and all of our protagonists and antagonists and whatever, they seem to have no idea what the Battle Royale thing is. And Takeshi Kitano has to like explain it to them in detail. Now, I'm not going to play dumb. I know why that's there. It's to explain it to the audience. But I would think that for that to make more sense, you would just get rid of the press stuff at the beginning and have this be like a complete mystery. Or go the like complete opposite direction and just have everyone know all the rules. So then, and then we'll just like figure it out like as it goes. You don't have to do like a sit down exposition thing where we explain everything to the audience, because these kids should realistically know everything about this. Maybe not like the details of like how it works. That kind of makes sense. But like they didn't even know that the Battle Royale program like existed. And they're like, wait, you're going to have us kill our friends? And it's like, that's the whole point. And that seems to be like widely reported in the beginning of the movie. But I digress. I will say, like, it's not a terribly, like, interesting movie. I rated this really high. I rated it 4.5 because I think it's a brilliant premise. It's very original. And I do want to give it points for that. It's really great, like, dystopian action stuff. And some of the like concepts are like brutal. And that's something that I've noticed, especially in Southeast Asian films they don't pull punches and they aren't afraid to show subjects that would be like risque in like Western movies. Like you would never see, for example, this podcast is I'm going to give a trigger warning right here because I'm going to be talking about way worse stuff once we get to the third movie. But if you are sensitive to like sexual assault things, this probably is not the podcast episode for you. Just go about 45 minutes to the end of the podcast, and that should be when music starts. So just go there. Or you can skip ahead like 15, 10, 5 minutes to when I talk about Blue Hawaii, because that's going to be pretty safe, obviously. But there's like one of the like major plot points for one of the characters is that she is like raped by like her mom like sells her to prostitution, which is horrible. And like it like establishes her being a loner. And I'm like, and that's the weird thing is that we get this backstory and it's super tragic. And you would think that this would be like our lead because it would be like, oh, like she deserves to survive. Out of everybody here, she's had such a horrible life. Like she should not be the one to die. But she is the villain. She's kind of an antagonist, which begs the question, why do that? And I don't really know. A lot of this stuff that I'm like questioning, I'm also kind of like brushing aside because there's a cultural barrier here. And I'm sure that some of these things are either super self-explanatory in Japan, or it's just something that like Japanese films don't tend to prioritize, which is also fine. But I'm just sitting here. I'm so American pilled. I take red, white, and blue pills every morning, and it makes me insensitive to other cultures. So I'm just confused. So I'd like the world to kind of change around that. That would be kind of nice. So maybe if you're Japanese, take some notes and send a letter to your president, not the one that got killed, but the other one, the one that's alive and in power. I think that would be cool. Just send them a letter that says, make it more American. I think that would be helpful to me specifically. But yeah, the tragic lady is the bad guy. There's also like two old people. Like I don't really get that twist. Like the whole premise of the thing should be all these kids are going to like get rounded up and then they have to kill each other to escape the island, whatever. But then like as a curveball, they like hired two mercenaries kind of, or there's like one guy who's just like a psychopath and he loves murdering. So he's just like, hey, can I join the battle royale thing? I would love to murder kids. And instead of being locked in jail or shot, I think that would be warranted if someone said, I want to murder children. Can you please help me do that? I think that, like, I'm not for capital punishment, but I think in private, I think that'd be morally fine if you wanted to murder someone that said they want to murder kids. That's just me, though. Instead of doing that, they're like, oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, we need you, actually. You should come to our battle royale program and just murder children. It's a healthy expression of that emotion, I guess. So I don't know, maybe it's a good thing. But then there's another guy. So there's an old psychopath man. He's not old, he's like 20. So old to the 14-year-olds. And then there's another 20-year-old who's also there. And I don't know. Like, I get that's to like stir the pot a little bit, but it's kind of a steamroll because the psychopath guy like gets an Uzi from the beginning, and so he's just mowing down children for like the first act of this movie. And I'm like, this isn't fun. Like, not in like movie speak.
It's the most American. They Americanized it for you.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. But I'm thinking like from the perspective of like the government that's like running this. Like, I guess the motivations for why this is happening is a little bit hazy. I don't really understand what the point is. If it's just to instill fear in children so they don't rebel, I guess that kind of makes sense. But why even have the mercenaries there? Like, that's just we're just gonna murder children, because then because he's gonna win. Obviously, you're getting a guy who's like super well trained in hand to hand and like gun combat, and you give him a gun, and of course along the way he's gonna find all these weapons and ammo and stuff because he's just mowing down children. Like, that doesn't seem like a fun game to me. It doesn't seem like it would be fun to watch. And I'm putting my mind in the head of like someone who would enjoy watching gladiators gut each other on stage. I'm putting my mind in that. I wouldn't want to watch children get killed, even if it was by other children, unless it's a movie, I guess, because I did kind of like this movie. I just have a lot of questions as to why this is a thing, which I guess is kind of nice. It's nice to not have all the answers. And I know there were other sequels, but they kind of seemed like they were just like straight to DVD, whatever. But it is, I don't know, it's a fun movie. And I guess I kind of want to leave it at that. I don't want to even really go into like the main characters or everything, because that's kind of the fun is to watch the movie, and you're getting and this is one thing. Okay, I was gonna wrap it up, but I actually have one more thing to say about this movie, is that I think it's a little bit unfocused in the protagonist zone, because and this is one thing I'll praise Suzanne Collins for the Hunger Games adaptation of this movie, is that we are basically following Katniss and the little twink guy for all of the Hunger Games movie. And I think that is very effective in that, like, we get a lot of character moments and we see them, like, how they are affected by these games and such. In Battle Royale, they seem to have thought that we needed to see every single death, and I don't think that that's true, because essentially what we're getting is just like a montage of children getting mowed down by the psychopath man, and to me, it doesn't feel very rewarding, even in like a fun, schlocky action way, because I don't know any of these people. I don't have any, like, I have no vested interest, whatever. I have no reason to care about any of these people because they were introduced 5 seconds before they died. It doesn't exactly hit the same as when whatever the little girl's name is in Hunger Games. Like, that makes that actually has some emotional weight to it because you care about that character and she's like the one nice person in this entire thing. There's really not that in Battle Royale. We have like our 2 main characters, but then we also are jumping around to a bunch of different perspectives and getting like very brief flashes of their backstory before they're murdered. And it's like, oh, I don't know about that. Like, that doesn't, It doesn't necessarily seem like a good writing decision, but whatever. Maybe I shouldn't have rated this 4.5 stars, but I had a very visceral positive reaction when I watched it. It's only now that I'm thinking more critically about it that maybe it isn't that good, but it was fun. It's a really fun movie. Pretty good, like practical squibs. That's also something that Japanese movies tend to do phenomenally. So, yeah, check out Battle Royale. It's pretty fun. And, oh, and this is the absolute last thing I'll say about it. Takeshi Kitano plays a character named Kitano. I wouldn't want my name attached because he's playing the guy who runs it. Like, I'm the big bad Hitler that wants to murder children. I want this name to be my name. It's like, maybe don't do that. But he was also like such a star in Japan. I'm sure that like, it's kind of like the Elvis thing. Because like later on, like his name didn't really matter in the movie. Everyone's like, Elvis. So he's just like, yeah, you know what? Don't even come up with a character name. I'm just going to be Kitano because that's what everyone knows me as. And if that's the case, that's actually kind of sick. So I don't know. I guess it's a double-edged sword. But that's that. That's Battle Royale. Good film. Now let's move on to a bad film that I watched. Not the worst film I've ever seen, but not a good one. And that is Blue Hawaii. This is one of the titles that I knew going into this that I would watch and be like, that is a movie that is still kind of culturally relevant. So I thought that'd be kind of fun. But the thing about this movie is that it's terrible and most of the songs are really bad. And it's, and this might be shocking to hear, it's mildly racist towards Hawaiian people, which I know it's unexpected. This movie came out in the early 60s, and you would think by then they would have had the wherewithal to be respectful towards the Hawaiian culture. But it turns out that that's not the case. And it's actually weird and not good, I guess. Let me just put it this way. Elvis comes from a rich family, and I'm talking about in the movie. I don't think he came from a rich family. I think he was a poor boy in Tennessee. But he comes from a rich family, and that family has a butler, and the butler is a native Hawaiian, and the Hawaiian's name is Ping Pong. That's real. Let me give you a quick fact about the Hawaiian language that you might find interesting. The Hawaiian language doesn't have a P, and it doesn't have the ing sound, or for that matter, the ong sound. So, to me, that kind of seems like an insensitive, just kind of like, oh, they're like kind of Asian. I'll just give them like the most racist, over the top, like Asian name. Because why would his name be Ping Pong? That doesn't even sound like a Hawaiian name. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that guy is supposed to be like Chinese or something. It doesn't make it any better, but he didn't look Chinese. I don't know. It's weird. I don't really know what's going on there. But the story of Blue Hawaii is really something that you're going to like, because Elvis is playing a veteran. It seems like that's all he does now that he fought or whatever, was in the army. Now his character is just always a soldier, except this time he's a soldier coming home from Europe or wherever. And he's been gone for 2 years. And his girlfriend, who's, what's her name? Oh, yeah, Miley, which is that's the second person I know who's named Miley. It's not a very common name. Just Miley Cyrus and this one character from Blue Hawaii. Do you know anyone else named Miley?
I think so.
That's a
This
that's a
seems like a fake name.
yeah. This, now that I'm thinking about it, like why? What is that? Why do I only know one person? Why is it just Miley Cyrus? And this chick, it's spelled differently. Miley in this movie is spelled Maile, which might actually be closer to like how a Hawaiian spelling would be, which is kind of interesting. And she is, and this is another thing, she is half Hawaiian in the film, not played by someone who is, just a straight up white lady. So I guess that's the second time in an Elvis movie where a white person has played someone that's half a minority. Although the last time it was Elvis and Flaming Star playing a half Native American man. So there's something going on there, I guess. But Elvis, or I guess his girlfriend is so excited to see him. She goes down to the runway on the tarmac, and it's like the old timey airports where like they would just like park the car or park the plane in like the middle of the runway and then just open the door. And then they would just walk down the stairs, which is pretty sick. They need to start doing that again because, well, actually, maybe not, because when they did that for Joseph Biden, he just took a slip. So maybe it's a bad idea. But I think it would be funny. And I guess it isn't wheelchair accessible. I guess there's a lot of reasons for them not to do that. But it is a nice visual to get off a plane on the stairs. And Elvis gets off the plane and immediately like the door lowers and he's like tongue kissing a stewardess. And he's like, and then his girlfriend gets upset and he's like, perfect. I got her jealous. I'm like, okay, so we're starting off rough. Like Elvis is a bad guy. He's been gone for 2 years. And the first thing that his girlfriend sees is him smooching another woman. But don't worry, because she's upset for about 30 seconds. And then he sings her a lovely song on the radio. I don't remember what the song was called or what it was about, but it was really bad. And that's pretty much the case for all of the songs in this movie. I don't know if I could... There's one song that I recognized, and it wasn't Blue Hawaii, because I don't know if that song is in this movie, which is shocking. But I don't think it is. Like the title track where they do like the opening credits was not Blue Hawaii. Maybe it was Aloha. No, it wasn't Aloha. Oh yeah, Can't Help Falling in Love. That was the one that I recognized. Which a little bit of a spoiler for Blue Hawaii. Elvis actually sings that to his girlfriend's grandma. So that's a little weird. Can't help falling in love with you, my girlfriend's grandma. You sure are a sweetie. Wouldn't that be nice? I think that was Elvis's way of like trying to get a threesome, which that would have been an interesting film, I think. I think I would have enjoyed that movie better than what we got. Because basically the rest of the movie is like a substandard action Elvis movie. He gets a job at a travel agency, and all of the ladies that take tours with him are super including a child. For reference, oh geez, I'm gonna have to do the bit.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think about it until right now. Okay, this movie came out in 1961. Elvis was born in 1935. That would make him 26, I think. 26 or 27 or 25, around there, which means that Priscilla was 16. And Elvis turns down a child who is 17, whose 18th birthday is a week away. And keep in mind, Elvis is in a relationship in this movie, and I guess in real life, with a child in real life. But in this movie, he turns the child down because I don't rob Cribs or I don't watch Cribs or something. It was some weird line. Like he was like, that's something that happens often to him. And he's like rehearsed a line to be like, I don't sleep with children, which is weird that you would need to have a line prepared for that. But I guess it was like, it was, I guess, written in 1960, and that's just how people talked. And it was like, two dingbats and a jackrabbit flew over the sun don't shine over there on the big soda fountain. That's kind of how people in the 50s talked, I think. Just nonsensical and prepared, which I think is funny. But yeah, he turns down every woman that he sees except for his girlfriend, and his whole shtick is that my daddy owns a pineapple business, which I'll let it slide. I think pineapples are in Hawaii. And he owns a pineapple business, and Elvis is like, I don't want to be born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm going to start my own business. And by start my own business, I mean work at a travel agency and hang out with my friends who are musicians. And there's one guy who's like, I'll be, you know what? I'll overestimate how much he weighs. And I swear that this is relevant. I'm not making a judgment on this guy. I'm saying that he's maybe on the high side, maybe 190. Like, not a very big guy, but everyone acts like he's the fattest person that's ever existed. In fact, there's a whole song about how this dude loves to eat, which I need to see what this song is called. It has to be on here. Why is it not on the Blue Hawaii soundtrack? Did they cut out? Oh, no, it is. Okay. It's just called Ito Eats. That's what the song is called. But the chorus of it is Ito eats like teeth be out of style, which I don't totally understand what that means. Tito's a guy, but he eats like teeth are out of stuff. So he just like swallows everything. He's like a whale. Is that what he's implying? I don't know. I don't really know anything about this movie. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, Elvis is like, he takes all the tourists to like these native Hawaiian spots because he's, I guess, a native Hawaiian who knows all of the perfect spots to take all these tourists. And he's also a rock star. The movie is just plain bad. I honestly don't know why this is like a well-known one, because even something like Jailhouse Rock is like miles above this movie. Like, this movie is terrible. I don't really know what else to say. I am a little bit nervous because I have an aunt who loves this movie. And truthfully, she's going to be in town tomorrow. And she saw that I watched this movie, and she said, I can't wait to talk to you about Blue Hawaii when I'm in town tomorrow. So I'm a little bit nervous because I don't know if she knows that I hate this movie. So I guess we'll see. Maybe stay tuned. I doubt I'm going to have an update on that because I won't remember. But remind me if I forget. So, or just drop a comment and I'll let you know. But yeah, that's Blue Hawaii. Bad movie. Don't watch it. What's next? I'm so nervous as to what could possibly be next. Geez, there's so many Elvis documentaries. I have to scroll through everything. Okay. Next up is Follow That Dream. Oh no. This sounds like Wild in the Country, and I don't like it. This is the most boring title. I'm very nervous, but I'll watch it. It has a higher letterbox score than Blue Hawaii does, so I'll take that. Blue Hawaii had a 2.8 and Follow That Dream as a 3.2. So, pretty good. Okay. I thought that it would be really funny to pair this like super clean 60s comedy that was still like governed by the Hays Code with Cannibal Holocaust. I thought that would be funny. And I think I realized about 10 minutes to the end of this movie that I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, and there's no redeeming qualities to any of it. Frankly, I don't, and I'm not for like censorship. I think that like most films should be able to be seen anywhere. I think this might be an exception. I think that this is like straight up harmful to everybody that watches it. Like I can't imagine a world, right? I can't think of anything about this movie that I would show someone to be like, this is worthwhile. This is like the one thing about this movie that I think deserves to be preserved. I think that we should just burn all the film prints. I'm kind of like George Lucas because he hates the Star Wars holiday special. And his famous quote is, if I had enough time and a hammer, I'd track down every copy of the Star Wars holiday special and bash it, which I've always thought is a funny quote because it implies that George Lucas doesn't own a hammer. That just is kind of funny to me because he's like an old guy. He's like 50 and he doesn't own a hammer. The time I understand. There's a lot of copies of that movie that's being made, but if he just doesn't have a hammer, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I think that every print of Cannibal Holocaust should be destroyed, and I think that it shouldn't be available anywhere. Enough with the pretext. Let's jump into it. Why is this movie so bad? Well, I don't think on the surface it's like necessarily a like super problematic premise necessarily. It is racist, but I think it's coming from like real, I guess, stuff that really exists. This movie was made in 1980. The premise of the movie is that there is a documentary film crew that is making a documentary about uncontacted tribes in the Amazon. Specifically, there's 2 tribes that practice cannibalism, and they are going to go investigate. And then like a month goes by, and nobody's heard from them. They are assumed dead. And so they send some random professor of anthropology to go find them or like get confirmation that they're dead. On the surface, not terrible. Like that, that's a real thing that happens. There are these uncontacted tribes. I don't know if there are any in the Amazon that practice cannibalism. That part seems bad. That part is racist. Where it's just like, oh, there are a bunch of cannibal savages that live in the forest. We need to civilize them. Like that part is absolutely racist. But like there are uncontacted tribes that exist in the world. They existed in 1980 and they exist right now that have no contact with any like exterior countries or peoples, and anybody that goes to like talk to them or try to make contact, they usually end up dead. Which is fair, I think. Let's just leave them alone. So, like, that's real. Like, that's stuff that's real. And so, like, I thought that, like, okay, this is fine. It's kind of based on, it's like a slasher movie that's based on this real thing of, like, these uncontacted tribes, whatever. The thing about this movie that makes it so bad is that I think, well, okay. First of all, we're going to start off minor. And believe me, this is a minor grievance I have with the movie, is that they murder so many real animals and show it in painstaking detail. Well, first, let's start off minor. They chop a tarantula in half. You know, I think most people are pretty chill with that. They chop a snake's head off. Again, I don't think most people would object too much because it was like a venomous snake. I mean, it is fucked up that they showed it on screen, but, you know, there aren't a lot of snake lovers. Then they, like, pick up a little, like, aardvark, and it's the cutest little thing I've ever seen in my whole life, and then they stab it in the heart multiple times, and we just watch the life drain from their eyes, and I'm like, why would you do that? It doesn't add anything. There's literally, this doesn't add anything to the movie. Why did you murder the cutest little aardvark I've ever seen? And then they have the gall to trudge around the Amazon River. They find a giant turtle, and it's like a snapping turtle. And then they chop its head off, and then they like crack the shell open, and they're like digging through the guts. And I'm like, what is the, why? Why did you need to do this? This doesn't it doesn't add anything. Like, I don't understand. There's so many, like, there's stuff like that where it's just like, I don't get it. Even something like Apocalypse Now, or another movie that has animal death, Tuki Buki, which is, why can't I think of what, is it I think it's Nigerian. I think that movie's Nigerian. Both of those movies have real animals getting killed, but the thing, Apocalypse Now, Francis Ford Coppola was just like actually chilling with a native tribe, and they were like letting him film there, and they're like, hey, we're gonna go, like, as a part of like some event or some ritual that they do, they murder a cow, and I guess it's like maybe to start a feast or something. And so Francis Ford Coppola was like, oh, snap. Well, yeah, I'm going to film that and put it in a movie. And it's disgusting and gross. But it's like, it was going to happen anyway. So I'm not like too upset about that. And also, like, people murder cows all the time. It's not like a big deal. Dookie Bookie, similar situation. It's like they had some people film in a slaughterhouse, and we see cows getting murdered, but like, again, that's like part of a process. It would have actually happened either way. It wasn't like the filmmakers were there and were like, hey, like, we're going to murder a bunch of cows, like, for no reason. Like, we're just gonna murder them and then not use the body. Like, that's what this movie is. They're just murdering stuff to murder stuff, and it's like fucked up. Like, I don't understand that aspect of it. Like, there wasn't going to be some, like, I don't think they ate that turtle, is what I'm saying. I think they actually went in the river, found a turtle, and then murdered it, and then just left the carcass just there. And I'm like, that just has no point. I think, and this is me making a giant assumption, I think that this movie is trying to say something about how there's, like, documentaries that like twist facts or like create scandalous things in order to promote the documentary. And it's like, yes, that does happen, but like, this is not the way to critique that. If that is what the point is, if you're trying to criticize stuff for like making fake news essentially, or whatever, fake events that you're documenting. Is this movie not doing that by, like, murdering these animals and showing it on camera? Like, this seems like they're doing the thing that they're trying to critique by doing this. And this isn't the worst thing that they do. Like I said, this is a minor thing that's wrong with this movie, is that they murder animals for no reason. Let's just talk about like the worst thing that they do, because and I guess maybe we should zoom out a little bit, talk more about like the context for these events, because basically the first act of the movie is this anthropology professor that is like down in South America. He teams up with like some I don't know if they're Peruvian or Brazilian or whatever. I don't know if the filmmakers really cared. But they're South American, like, guerrillas, essentially, that are, like, kind of fighting these cannibal tribes because they murder people, which is fair. Honestly, I know I just said we should leave them alone, but if they're, like, killing people, I think that's okay. If we need to, like, fend them off, that's fine. But he's teaming up with these guerrillas, and they, like, get to the tribe, and then they find all of the documentarians dead, and they find the reels of all of the stuff that they filmed for their documentary. And so for, like, most of the second act into the third, we're basically watching the documentary footage of what they got up to while they were there. And that's where, like, they kill a turtle for no reason, they murder a snake, all that bad stuff is in the footage. And I guess before we dive too much into the actual crimes that were committed here, I guess I should point out that this may be the first found footage horror film. So I guess there's no Blair Witch Project if there wasn't a Cannibal Holocaust. But again, I don't think that this movie deserves any props for being the first found footage movie, because what they found is the worst thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Because, and again, this is another minor thing. The thing that really pisses me off is that they actually assaulted people. And I guess I don't know if, like, this minor thing, like, in the context of the story, it's horrible, where, like, the documentarians, like, lock a bunch of the, or they don't lock a bunch of one of the cannibal tribes in, like, a grass hut and then set it on fire. They kind of just, like, corral them in there and then just, like, essentially, like, intimidate them and point their guns at them so they stay in the house and die, so that they can film it and be like, oh, aren't these cannibal tribes bad? And it's like, okay, I don't think that any of them actually got hurt there. I don't know, though, because they're actually in a hut that's on fire. Like, there's smoke inhalation. And also, before we go any further, I should say that all of the people playing the, like, cannibal tribes were, like, actual natives of that area. And because of that, they weren't, like, legally required to pay them. So they didn't. So, yeah, they basically just rolled up to a bunch of, like, native tribes, tortured them, and then didn't pay them anything. Which is why I think that this movie is terrible, because of that. Okay, I'm just going to talk about it because it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my whole life. There's a scene where they have, there's one of the cannibal tribe's ladies. She basically, like, gets out. At this point, the documentarians have made contact with the tribe and burned a bunch of them, assumedly murdered a bunch too, just for their film, to which the tribe didn't like that, obviously. And one of the, like, women is just out. I don't know if it's ever really established why she's out there. I guess it doesn't really matter, because the scene that takes place is just we're watching all of the three male documentarians rape her. By the way, one of the members of this crew, it's three men and one woman, and one of the men and her are in a relationship. And I don't really know if I want to get into detail here, but I mean, I don't think that they, like, actually had sex. Like, I doubt that's the case, but, like, they're really rough with that, like, native lady, and they're really rough with the other lady that's on their team. Like, they're holding her down because she's trying to, like, rip her boyfriend off of this woman. And it's like, I know that like no one actually got raped here. Actually, I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to assume that because otherwise I don't think that this would be a movie that I could watch. Like if that would be just like a straight up snuff film, and I don't think they would have that on Amazon Prime. Which I think is where No, I watched it on. It was one of the free streaming services because that's where trash like this goes. So I guess maybe they could have been assaulted, but I don't think so. But like they're really rough, and like that person wasn't paid, and like either she's the best actor in the world or she's like actually like screaming and telling them to get off, and it's awful. Like everything about this is like the worst. Like I don't understand how this was made. And most of all, I don't understand the dozens of people. Let me see. Okay, there's 5,000 reviews for this movie that are 5 stars on Letterboxd. And I was looking through these, and some of them are a joke, obviously, but some of them are real, and like I was just shocked. I'm like, who is rating this? Like maybe they don't know all the like behind the scenes stuff, but either way, like this is horrible to be like just stuff to be depicted on screen, and there's like no point to it. Like me like saying the documentary is like creating fake events or whatever. That's like me trying to extrapolate literally anything from this. And I don't even know if that's right. Like, I don't know if that's what they're going for. I don't know what else it could be, though. But if that's the case, like actually putting people in danger, actually not paying them for their work, like actually murdering animals, like that is what they're trying to critique. So like in every aspect of this movie, it's a utter failure. Like it doesn't succeed at anything it tries to do. And it's just lazy, despicable schlock to just like shock people. And I don't see any artistic value in this. It just, and it isn't an actual snuff film, but it feels like you're watching one. And in a way, it kind of is in like the behind the scenes abuse that was going on. Yeah. So that's kind of why I say if you like this movie, you're a bad person. I want to go so far as to say if you rate this like higher than a half star, I think you're a bad person. But I don't necessarily think that's true. I just think that like, God, there's like nothing redeeming about this. Like, and I'm not like I'm not super squeamish necessarily. Like I was watching this movie being like even during the rough parts, I'm just like, this is just nothing. Like this is just exploitation for exploitation's sake. And for that reason, it's kind of worthless. So I'm going to stop talking about it. I could ramble on and on about how this movie is terrible forever. I think I kind of put it in a decent way when I did my review for it, which was like a 3-paragraph essay, I guess I did, about how terrible this is. So I guess if you want to know, like, I kind of just said it, but I don't know. If you want it to be more coherent and written down, it's on my Letterboxd. I either do that or my review for Battle Royale. I don't know what I was doing when I wrote my review for Battle Royale, but it's interesting. So go check that out too. Okay. I'm done plugging. I'm done chastising people for liking a 40-year-old Italian movie. Now I'm going to throw it on over to Babby for an absolute switch up in tone with music.
Who you think?
Oh,
No.
did you listen to the
I don't know
Cannibal
how I would
Holocaust
follow that up.
soundtrack?
The soundtrack. What a coincidence.
What a coinky dink.
Okay. A lot of stuff. Some stuff I listened to, a lot of stuff I did not.
Oh,
I guess we can start with news and stuff that is coming. Biggest thing is that the Clips album is real. It's here.
what?
It's not here yet, but it's coming. We finally have the release date. We're getting a single tomorrow as of recording. It'll be out when you hear this. But yeah, it is coming out July 11th. It's called Let God Sort 'Em Out, which I think we've known for a while.
Oh,
But it is entirely produced by Pharrell, as far as I'm concerned, which no surprise there. It's a Clips album. That's what I expect. Um, yeah, I am very excited. I don't know if I like the cover. It's not great. Um, I get that they use the cause artist for things like they did on their last album from 2009, but this is kind of just like a blatant, it doesn't feel like there's any tie to the actual music. It just looks like a cause advertisement, which is
oh,
not great. But yeah, besides that, I'm very, 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 very excited for this thing. We don't have a track list or anything yet, but there is a rumored Kendrick feature. We'll see if that actually becomes a real thing.
that would be so sick.
Because I think Kendrick and Pusha T will have a fantastic team up.
Yeah, I didn't
at
even
this
think
point
about
in their
that.
careers.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was the Whips and Chains featuring Kendrick was the rumor. We do know Whips and Chains will be on this record. Whether it has the Kendrick feature, I guess we'll see. But very excited. I have high hopes for this thing. Every Clips album I've heard has been phenomenal. I have not heard Till the Casket Drops since people are not really a big fan of that one, so I didn't feel like I needed to listen to it. But absolute classic hip hop group. They got some classics. Mama, I'm So Sorry is one of the best songs I've ever heard. Grindin's a classic. Yeah, not missing this for anything. This is their first album in 16 years, so
Yeah, it's been a minute.
it's been a hot minute. And Pusha hasn't done anything since 2022, so very excited. Glad that there's finally a release date and that we can look forward to it. Albums like those are like almost seem like they're like not real until you get the kind of release date. So glad it's coming.
Yeah.
In terms of stuff we're getting tomorrow,
Oh, wow.
big week. We got first of all the Swans album, Birthing. That's coming next or tomorrow. Yeah, I have a Swans double feature this week, which I did not.
Oh, yeah.
Well, none of us planned for. The wheel just kind of did that. So
It did do that.
yeah, I think Birthing's going to be a lot more intense than the one we're doing on the channel. But nevertheless, I'm getting 3 hours of new Michael content for me, so that'll be fun. I've been hearing great things about the record. Mine is not here yet, so still don't know if I'm gonna wait. Probably not. I'll probably just listen on streaming. But it is 7 tracks and 2 hours long, so it's a big one. But yeah, we also get ASAP Rock new album, Black Hole Soubrette. Very excited for this. Rhymesayers is having a great year so far. They've got the Billy Woods album and they got the ASAP Rock album on there. Yeah, this album's going to be pretty sick, I think. I haven't listened to any of the singles or anything. I'm just wanting to go in completely blind. But we do have the Arm & Hammer, the Open Mike Eagle, and the Lupe features that I'm very excited for. So I'll give a review of that next week. And then our
Nice.
friends over at Caroline, that comes out tomorrow.
Oh,
Caroline
wow.
2. The second one. I hope all their albums are just like 1, 2, 3.
I think Toto did that.
Toto,
It was like
Brian Eno
Toto
did.
4. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool
I
it's
like
a cool
it.
thing.
I
I
like
like it. You immediately tell where you're at.
Exactly.
There's no yeah. So that's coming as well. Very excited for that. Okay. Got a couple of singles, couple of albums, but I think we're gonna start. This has been happening for a while and I haven't talked about it yet. The Joey Badass versus
Oh, yeah.
everybody.
You talked about it.
We talked about it, but I didn't listen to anything yet.
Oh,
and I think it is far advanced from where it was when I last spoke. Um, I took the time to kind of like, I didn't get in the weeds, but I wanted to sample all of the big tracks, I would say, from this thing. Um, so essentially, Joey Badass has been trying to gun for pretty much Kendrick. I think he wants a Kendrick response. I don't think he's going to get one,
No.
but he's been more of like a um, I'm the king of New York, and I do not like that the West Coast is the hot thing right now. So he's
Oh.
kind of setting himself up as this New York bastion against the West Coast surge, I guess.
West Coast's
Um,
only been a thing for like a year.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, I think this is all leading to a Joey album, but um,
Yeah, probably.
yeah, he started that with the Rulers Back, and kind of threw direct shots at the West Coast. Um, and then I think Ray Vaughn was the first one to kind of mention it back, with Crash Out Heritage, which is a pretty good song. This is the first Ray Vaughn song I've heard. I am enjoying everything I've heard from Ray Vaughn so far. It's only been these kind of diss tracks, but they've all been pretty good. I really enjoy his energy and his flow. He's got some really nice wordplay. He's got some good wordplay where it's like you kind of get it immediately and it's just good. You don't need to like um, listen multiple times to get a lot of stuff, which is good. I like the immediacy of it. He's definitely got the TDE kind of. There's a vibe to every TDE artist that he also has. I can't really explain it, but there is this just kind of like different energy around TDE artists usually. But it's great. Crash on Heritage is great. It's on the Heart Part 6 beat, so it's not even an original beat, but it still goes pretty good. Um,
Wait,
I'm not going to go into the details.
which Heart
but
Part 6 beat?
oh, the Kendrick Heart
Okay.
Part. Yes,
Okay.
that is an important detail. I forgot the other one existed.
I was like, wait, he sampled Drake?
That would have been really weird. No, the Kendrick Heart Part 6.
Okay. I
He
like
does a
that
lot
beat.
with it. I really like it in this context. I'm not going to go into like the lyrical content of all these because we'll be here for 3 years, and honestly, I haven't done like the deepest dive that I could have for this stuff because there are so many songs. For reference, I found a playlist of someone kind of compiling all these to like make it a little bit easier because it's very difficult to figure out what's happening. There's 50 songs total. I'm not listening to all those, and I'm not digging into all those.
Oh,
It's a
there's
lot.
50 songs?
Yeah.
What the hell? How long has this
is
been going
throughout
on?
like probably 10 artists, and this all happened
Oh.
within like the main stuff happened within like a week and a half. It was all very quick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it became an all-out brawl, and then it got confusing on who's shooting at who, and then what we're actually trying to get out of this, and then it just kind of stopped. So,
Yeah.
but as it stands for the first two songs, Joey and Rayvon are both pretty great. Both the songs are really good. From there, we go to Joey's response with "Sorry, Not Sorry." I don't like this one as much as The Ruler's Back, but it's still a good one. Um, Rayvon hits back again with "Impossible Patty," which is really good. I really like this song. Um, Brings out his energy really, really, really well. Clever wordplay from both of them. I think Joey has a better grasp on like tying a whole bunch of bars together into like an overall statement, versus Rayvon being more of a kind of 1-2 punch with his lines where it doesn't always connect all the way through. But you got some hard hitting stuff in there still. Um, and then this is where like stuff kind of started heating up, I think, because Joey responded with "Pardon Me" after that, which is really great. Az Chike joins the mix at this point,
Oh.
with "What Times Two." It's okay. I don't think Az Chike has like what it takes for this kind of battle. Um, it's. I mean, it sounds good, but it's like I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to get out of this. It
Yeah.
doesn't. There's no energy that they bring that is similar to what Joey and Rayvon does throughout the whole battle. There's kind of like some main players, and I don't view Az Chike as a main player here, yet he does participate multiple times. Um, After that, cools down a little bit up until this is crazy that this is 2025 and this is how things have gone through. There was a Red Bull Spiral Cipher freestyle. I didn't realize we were still in 2016 double XL freestyle cipher zone. but we
Yeah, all
are,
down.
especially given the cast of it. This was Joey Badass, Big Sean, and Absol
What?
in Big 2025. Yeah, this was a freestyle cipher for something Red Bull was doing. Um, it's good. I do enjoy it's very nostalgic. You don't really do stuff like this anymore, so it was strange kind of getting this um, just long cipher of pretty well-known artists that were probably more well-known in 2016 when this was popular.
Right.
Big Sean does okay. It's Big Sean. He's just kind of doing his thing, ribbity rapping, yapping, gabbing, gossiping. I don't know what Big Sean does. I don't like Big Sean
Gossiping?
that much. Big Sean is like Drake with less charisma.
I mean, yeah.
Absol does really good. I'm always a big fan of Absol's stuff. He does great. But Joey is obviously the main protagonist of this freestyle. He definitely takes it over and just kind of tries to reignite the West Coast beef that he's trying to get at here. Which is funny because Absol is obviously TDE, so they kind of like go back and forth, and like this is all kind of friendly, like competitive. Um, I don't think it ever gets past that point too. It's a very like competitive show off. We're all getting more exposure because we're all participating in this one big thing, which is great. I will say that like there's no going past a threshold with any of these. Um, besides one example, but that's not really a real example we'll get to. Um, but I do like the competitiveness of it. And the freestyle goes over pretty well. Then Rayvon hits back at that with Ho Era. So this is where the main beef of it actually happens, where there are back and forth tracks and people are kind of on the timer, so to speak. Um, like a more traditional rap battle beef that we've seen in the past, 10 years. So Ho Era comes out. This is really great. I really love his response here from Rayvon. Um, I do like the "You let Ice Spice turn into the King of New York" line. That was just funny. He's got he's got a lot of good like one-liners here. Um, I think calling out Joey for like having every song being about talking about how he's back, which is the thing that rappers do a lot. But Joey's dropped like 6 tracks at this point. He's been back for like 3 months. Um,
True.
there's a lot of good stuff in here. It's probably one of the best songs out of this. Um, it just is really, really well made. It sounds like he kind of took the GNX model of making a West Coast hip hop song and kind of flipped that a little bit because it does sound very similar to something that's on GNX. It has this kind of like peekaboo quality to it, which is really, really, really cool. Um, and he has the energy to stand up to it. So this might be like one of my favorites, if not my favorite track from this whole debacle. Um, and then Joey hits back with the finals. I think this is like a day or two after. All this is very quick, um, which is also great. I just love that. I think Rayvon and Joey are the ones that are the most ready for this, and they seem like they were both kind of tapped in and on the same wavelength when it came to this, which is great because the Drake Kendrick battle was kind of it was a nuke and then it was over. It was kind of all done within the 24-hour session, and it was
Yeah.
about 3 tracks. Um, the longest part was just the waiting between uh, push-ups and Euphoria. This
Yeah.
is more of a steady back and forth, constant grudge match almost. But yeah, Joey with the finals. I do think Joey just is the best lyricist out of all these artists, um, which I guess shouldn't be the biggest surprise. But a lot of his lines and the way he ties his verses together are just great. Like that's what Joey does so well. Um, I think a lot of this is just like trying to get his writing better and better as he's kind of competing against all these people because he has a timer that he has to be on and go fast, and he's talking a big game with him trying to like carry the entire city on his back versus the entire coast. He's trying to make the 1v20 a real thing, which it does kind of become in a way. But very, very, very good. I don't know if I like the sound of all the Joey tracks, but the lyrics are great.
Oh, sure.
Joey mentions he's got like a couple of bars about like mentioning Reason getting dropped off TDE, and like mentioning that Rayvon might be the next one. Yeah, you're gonna be the next one dropped off to the top roster, and I'm gonna be the Reason. which is a great line.
That's pretty good.
Because of that, Reason comes crawling out of the woodwork and releases 2 diss tracks to Joey
Oh
Bada.
no.
Which honestly, okay, he releases 2 back to back, and I don't know why he didn't make it one song because the ending beat of the first track goes into the next track, and then the next track replays part of the first one. I don't know why he did that. Um, this is not like a push-ups to Family Matters situation because there's no time between them. He just drops them the same day. Um, I will say this is probably the Dead Apple being is probably the best Reason song I've heard. I mean, he does okay, but it's Reason, and I don't really know if I need to hear anything from you. Um, I'm not a big fan of Reason. He's just kind of there's something off about his vibe, and I don't really like it. Um, but I think lyrically and song structure wise, this is probably the best thing I've heard from him. Um, he didn't need to drop 2 tracks, though. I think he could have just kept it at the Dead Apple. New York Crash doesn't do anything for me. Um, on top of that, we now have AZ Chike coming back with What Would You Do? Um, this is worse than the first one. I don't. This was like a direct diss track. I think the one before was just kind of mentioning the whole Joey trying to uh, get a Kendrick response type thing. What Would You Do was more of a direct kind of I'm inserting myself in this conflict. Um, again, he doesn't have the energy. He kind of sounds asleep for most of it. Like the lyrical content is kind of good, but it doesn't it doesn't really match up to the caliber of anything else we've been hearing so far, and I don't know if it really works. But he keeps trying, so that's part of this is just throwing it out there and trying to battle. Um, and at this point, Daylight enters the arena, which I think is probably the 3rd biggest player in all of this. Um, Daylight has been all over the place since the Kendrick Drake pop up feud last year. He is a battle rapper, so that's what he does. I don't think he really makes a lot of actual rap music. He is strictly a battle rapper for as far as I can tell, or at least that's where he started. For being a battle rapper, he can put together a pretty compelling song.
Hmm.
So that is good. Um, I don't really like battle rap. I think I should preface that. Um, it's mostly just like how depraved can I get against my opponent directly. There's
Yeah.
still an art and a craft to it. Um, you're still putting together hip hop verses, but like there's more of a over the top nature to a lot of it that I'm not the biggest fan of. But that's just me. I was never too into like the actual battle rap showcases that people put on. Um, but he definitely has a very in your face flow and demeanor and everything. He is um, definitely one of those that like feels more of that horrorcore element in hip hop. Um, and he puts together a pretty good diss track for his first one here coming in. I don't even know what the name of this track is. It's just a whole bunch of letters put together. But he filmed a music video in New York. That's a classic. You got to be on enemy turf. Um, and yeah, he does a pretty good response. I wasn't the biggest fan of this one musically. I think he does fall into the battle rap thing of like just getting disgustingly graphic when you don't really need to. But he gets better throughout the battle. So after that, Joey's got like 4 things to respond or 3 things to respond to, at least from that. So then he comes back with My Town. And then we have Loaded Lux as a feature. So he finally has someone else from New York jumping in here. I think this is the last time Loaded Lux pops up, so it's kind of just a little flash in the pan here. Um, My Town is great. Um, I believe this is the one where he comes out and tries to do. Actually, no, I think that's Crash Dummy. They trade coasts for one of these diss tracks, which is really fun.
Hmm.
But My Town is an incredibly New York sounding track. We also have the overlay of the Knicks doing really well in the NBA playoffs right now too. So there's also that added element to a lot of the New York stuff that's going on, which is really cool. Um, just another added element to a lot of this. But My Town sounds great. I just like this as a song quite a bit. Um, he is replying to like a lot of the lines that has been thrown against him too in really clever ways. There's just too much lyrical content for me to like even dig into it. So yeah, all this you can listen to for yourself, but I'm just kind of giving an overview. Um, Rayvon hits back at that, I think a day later, really, really quickly. Um, this is where I think they trade sounds. So Rayvon tries to do a New York hip hop sound, and it sounds pretty good. Um, and that goes over pretty well. I do enjoy the okay, I'm gonna take your style and try to throw it back at you. And then Joey does that on Crash Dummy. He does like a West Coast sound, and you can't even tell it's Joey for like the first half of the track because it is so West Coast sounding. Um, that was really cool. That's where it's like I feel like these dudes are like talking to each other, kind of to be like, all right, we're just gonna do this, and we're gonna do this. It's a very cool dialogue that you're seeing between the two. That they are like trying to um, keep with each other and try to like outmatch each other in the same thing. That's why I think Rayvon and Joey are the main kind of contenders in this because they really are trying to do that. And it goes over really well. Like it's just a lot of fun to dig into this. It's a very competitive atmosphere without like all the drama and garbage that comes like with the very very high profile stuff like Pusha and Drake and Kendrick and Drake obviously. Um, so I do really enjoy that part of it. Daylight has another track in between those two. Um, this goes over pretty well too. Um, I don't know. The daylight tracks are always like okay, they're good. I don't think they're as good as songs as either of the other two main guys here. Besides the last one that we'll get to, um, another GNX person, Hita J3, drops a track then. The Last Supper because we need more people in this.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah,
How have I not heard of
Hita
this?
does.
There's so many people
I
involved.
know this all happened within like a week, and there was just so many things happening. I'm not even touching on half of the tracks either. There's so many like lesser known people that are in this as well.
Jeez.
Um, yeah, Hida has two tracks. The first one, Last Supper, is pretty good. I think Hida does a lot better job than AZ Chike does. He has a lot better energy, which is just how his rapping style is.
Yeah.
But I think Headshot, his second one, was really good. There was like three different beats in that thing, a lot of different switch ups and things, and he had some really nice lines that I really enjoyed. Um, so he's still not the main target or anything, and I don't know if he even like got a response by anyone at this point. Um, but I mean, at this point, you're just throwing your hat in the ring and seeing what happens. So all this happens. Crash Dummy is the last thing Joey releases, and GoldenEye's the last thing Rayvon releases, and we're kind of dying out here. Um, and then Daylight releases end credits, which this is why I'm like, is there anything going on behind the scenes? Because like he releases end credits as like this final statement, and then everybody just kind of stops, and we're done. Um, this song is really, really, really good. I think Daylight capped this off really well because he's kind of like, all right, we were just kind of like showing off. We kind of revived the coast rivalry, and everybody was just having like a really competitive, locked in kind of time throughout it. But like at the end of the day, like we're all just doing this for hip hop, and there's a real violence and everything going on, but we're like keeping it in the studio and all this kind of stuff. So there's like a really nice end note to a lot of this like weird saga that just kind of bubbled up. Um, it's weird that Daylight is the one that kind of like put the cap on the end of it because I mean he's trying to insert himself in every little thing, but I think he does have a really good track to kind of close this part off here. I don't know if this is completely done. Um, Absol posted an Instagram song, kind of like when Kendrick did with "Watch the Party Now" or whatever. It's just an Instagram audio song.
Mm.
I did not listen to it. Um, I think it came out like yesterday, but it seems like he was coming in late to try to. I mean, him and Joey are friends, so I think it was more of a friendly kind of competition thing, trying to spark it up again.
Sure.
I don't know if there's an end goal or anything from any of this. I don't think anybody really lost or won. I think it was more just like we've all gotten more publicity and plays off of this, and we're all going to kind of take that and try to run with it as much as we can, um, which I am absolutely here for. I think there was a lot of great performances throughout this thing. Definitely made me want to check out Rayvon's mixtape that he dropped this year because I heard a lot of the stuff that I heard from Rayvon was really impressive. I do think Joey's going to have an album coming out this year, so this kind of makes sense for him to wanting to do this. Um, I don't think there's going to be a Kendrick response. He's on tour doing tour stuff. I don't
Yeah.
think that's going to happen. I don't think he has a reason to really. Um, I mean, Kendrick said he wanted to kind of get in and battle, but like I don't think he's just going to like keep taking on whoever just kind of like wants to.
Yeah.
It's not really his style. He likes to kind of just hide away until he has something to say. Um, but a very interesting thing. I'm glad that like last year the battle was I think beginning of May.
Yeah.
And this year we had the same thing. May is just kind of the battle month. So let's do this every year. Let's make it an annual thing.
Yeah, why not?
I'm cool with it, especially stuff like this where it's just like a lot of great competitive rapping and a lot of fantastically written and produced songs in an incredibly quick amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice, very competitive and cool, and it's a great thing to kind of just tap into. I definitely got to it late because it was too chaotic to try to figure it out as it was happening. Um, so shout out to people who put together lists of like the list of events and when things came out because this is one of the more confusing ones. Usually it's like a two-person battle. This person goes, that person goes, this person goes. This one's like Joey's just spraying an entire coast and then all of them reply to him and then it just like lingers for a little bit and then it just really sparks up. So um, very good stuff though. That was my big side thing for this week. Um, Couple singles though. We got a collab between Mavi and Earl Sweatshirt, which is crazy.
Oh.
That's called Land Grab. And in typical Mavi and Earl Sweatshirt fashion, it's a minute 28 and it's way too short. I don't know why you couldn't make a longer song. Um, it's such a shame, but it's a good song. I do really enjoy it. Um, you get what you expect between Mavi and Earl, which is not a bad thing. I think it is very Earl has a very different flow on this, and I don't know how I feel about it. He usually has a more calculated, slower flow. He was kind of going quick on this one, and I didn't really know what to
Oh.
expect, especially since Mavi was kind of doing that Earl slower flow. Um, but it is great. Hollywood Cole's on the beat on this one, and it does go over really well. I would like to see these two work together more. I saw that there was a Mavi and Earl Sweatshirt collab, and I got so excited. And then it's a minute 28 song. It's a great song, but I would love those two to make like an EP or something, um, just because of how short those songs are usually. So it is pretty good though. It's definitely a bucket list kind of collab. I think this is the first time that Mavi's had a feature, a rapping feature on any track of his. I think he's always been the solo rapper on every single song he's done, which is strange considering he has four pieces of work. Um, Actually, six if you include the old mixtapes. So, very good stuff though. Okay, this is another weird one. This band Drug Dealer or Guy Drug Dealer. I don't know if he's just one person or not. He teams up with Wise Blood for a new single.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, called Real Thing. It's pretty great. Drug Dealer seems to be a kind of yacht rock, soft rock 70s type beat. It's
Okay.
it's kind of within that area. Um, so Wise Blood really sounds like this came from like the 70s. Like it's really nice and really chill. Very different from like her production that she usually goes on for her main records. Um, but this is just really nice. Like Wise Blood is fantastic on it. There's just some really nice instrumentation. It is definitely very loungy, which I really, really, really like. So, um, very, very cool. I don't know what Wise Blood is up to. We do need the final album in the trilogy, so I'm hoping that
Yeah.
that's coming this year. Um, yeah, it's a good single though. So I was not expecting that, but
No.
here we are. Another weird collab. Okay, I got three albums, I guess, one EP to talk about. The first one is by MS Paint, which is a group that we just found out about. I think someone from her work brought them up. It's a very Linkin Park meets kind of Rage, not quite Rage Against the Machine, but almost, and kind of rap rock adjacent things like that. Um, It's very cool. It's a little EP called No Separation. The cover is amazing. I love the cover of it. Um, it definitely carries a lot of qualities from rap rock in a good way, which is hard to do. Um, they do kind of incorporate a little bit of like more punky elements in it as well, which is really nice. There is one song that does sound exactly like a Linkin Park song, but the rest of these, there's a really, really cool blend of like hardcore and punk and rap rock and all these different things. So it's a really cool little EP. I like the energy on it. I do wish the vocals were a little bit more intense, like you would get with a Rage, because I really love that when the instrumental gets backed up by that just like overpowering singer. But pretty good stuff. It's a nice little EP. I don't know if I have much to say about it, but it is there. Okay, two big ones this week. Stereolab, new record, Instant Holograms and Metal Film. This is their first since 2010, so 15 years gap.
Oh,
A band that I have not gotten into yet, but after listening to this, I definitely will. I don't know what to classify this as. It is kind of, I think the main things I'm kind of getting out of this is like a neo psychedelic. Uh, I don't know if it's quite ambient. I think it is more krautrock mixed with neo psychedelia that creates this kind of ambient atmosphere to it, um, which is a great combo for me. I love that stuff. It feels like Flaming Lips mixed with a little bit of the quirk that King Gizzard has, mixed with um, some Brian Eno ambient stuff almost, which is a great combo. There's so many good instrumentation things happening here. Um, it's a record that is very, very easy to listen to, despite all of those more pretentious sounding genres that I just listed. Uh, it has like a loungy quality where you can really just kind of like throw it on and just have it on in the background. But if you do listen more intently, like a lot of the production choices and instrumentation and the progressions of a lot of these tracks are just really, really, really nice. I was not knowing what to expect when I got into a Stereo Lab record. It's a band I've heard about for a long time, but I've never listened to like a single song, I don't think. Um, but it went over really well. I just really enjoyed it. It flew by. It has almost like a dance quality that you can get into the grooves of it. Um, but really, really nice instrumentation. I love the vocals. I think they kind of have multiple vocalists, which is really great. Um, and it's an hour long record, but it flies by. Like it feels like a 40-minute record, which is a very big compliment for something like this. Um, I think this could be something where like it does just kind of wash over someone and they don't get much from it, or it could be something that where it's like this is fantastic. I'm kind of leaning into the fantastic camp. This sounds really great. Um, of course, I don't have the benefit of knowing any of their other music, so I'm not sure how this sits within the kind of discography area that they have. But it seems like older fans are enjoying this one. Um, but a lot of fun stuff. It's a fun listen. A lot of just like very uh, poppy elements, but you also have that more that kraut rock where it is this really meticulous kind of groove that sets in throughout these things. So it's a very good album. It's one where it's like, okay, this is one where it's like music nerds go crazy, but this is also very accessible. You can throw this on anywhere. This is the kind of thing where like if you need vinyl for background music and kind of throw something on the record player, this is a great choice. Um, but I think standout tracks, Aerial Troubles is fantastic. Electrified Teeny Bop is just a fantastic name for a song, and the song is great as well. Um,
yeah.
uh, yeah, Color Television is also great. I love that one too. Um, but yeah, this is a really cool album. I definitely need to dig into Stereolab more. Um, I wish I had more to say about it. It's still kind of like a mystery what all of this kind of adds up to for me. Um, but it was more just like a I like all the pretty sounds I'm hearing because it does feel like it is just like people having some really nice jam sessions on a whole bunch of instruments and making some really cool grooves. So I can't pick out all the instruments. There's a lot of different stuff going on here. It is like electronic almost, but organic at the same time, which I guess is the psychedelic element. But I don't know. It has that Gizzard quirk in the vocals, kind of. It has this kind of like carefree esque kind of thing that you would get on Butterfly or parts of Fishing for Fishies. That is also really interesting. Um, so very good. I will be going back and listening to other Stereolab stuff. I think Dots and Loops is their most popular, so I'll probably go there next just to see what the big dog is for them before I kind of go on. But first impressions is this is a band that I could very, very, very well get obsessed with. So that's always good to have, and I like when I find a new one like that. Um, so very good album though. I love the cover art as well. Everything just like feels great about it. So very good. Um, okay, this next one is an anomaly. I don't know where this came from. I'm still confused on where it came from and how who these artists are, who any of these people are, and how it got this much of traction in this short amount of time. Um, because usually I don't know. There's definitely been albums from album of the year that like I have found, and they are kind of like hidden gems. There's been a couple of those, um, but oftentimes it's not anymore. I think just because of how tapped in I am with a lot of new releases, there's not really a lot of surprises that pop up often. But this one came out and it kind of immediately sprung up the charts and everything, and people were just like going crazy. So this is John Michelle and Anthony James, which is a I'm not going to call them a hip hop duo because John Michelle is the rapper, Anthony James is production. This is their album Ego Trip, which has a cover very similar to the Swans album coming out, which might also be another draw of why I clicked on it. Because I'm like, wait a minute, this almost is the same. Uh, this is a hip hop album. It is 37 minutes long, so it's a pretty concise one. It is I would say more East Coast leaning. I think he's from Philadelphia, so you kind of have there is a little bit of a Philly sound. When you get like Meek and Mac Miller, there's a little bit of Philly in there, but it is very just East Coast in general. But there's a lot of Chipmunk soul and gospel influence, which reminds me of Chicago sound. So you kind of have these blends. Um, I don't know where these two came from. They don't have any other music besides Jean Michel has an EP. Anthony James has nothing up else but this album. But they just come out swinging so hard that I don't understand how this is this good. Um, it is produced incredibly well. The beats are phenomenal. Like it really does carry that gorgeous Chicago gospel influenced hip hop energy of the 2000s Kanye production. Um, Mixed with more of like a Blue and Exile kind of approach to production as well that really works for me. And John Michelle was great. He has an amazing energy. He's got kind of a gruff voice where he's very commanding on the mic. Um, but there is a confidence and like a refinement from both the lyrics and the song structures and the production that is just such an anomaly for your first album. Um, Coming from almost obscurity to all of a sudden people all tapping in and being like, where did this come from? Um, it has 1,700 ratings on Album of the Year, which is insane. It's been a week. Um, I don't know where the organic growth kind of came from, if it was just truly like a word to mouth where like people will listen and they're like, whoa, and then they, tell other people to check it out and just kind of grew from there. I could see that. I think something with TikTok might have helped with that as well. Um, but this is like such a breath of fresh air of a hip hop album. It keeps the energy the entire time. There's a whole bunch of featured artists on here, and I know none of them either, but they're all also great. I'm like finding it's like just digging up an entire new bed of talent just randomly out of nowhere. Um, it's like a GNX effect, except I don't know the main artist of this album either, and we're pulling up other people that are even smaller. So very strange, but like incredibly good. Like this is just it's a feel good album to listen to. Like it feels refreshing. Where I think I Blue and Exile might be the easiest thing to relate it to, except you kind of flip the coasts here, and it's not a West Coast sound. Um, and I don't know, it's incredibly refreshing. This feels like something that would come out during the mixtape era of like 2011 through 2015. Not to say that it's stuck in that sound palette, but this definitely feels a bit more natural to the hip hop sound than a lot of newer acts coming out, where there's a lot more influence from those late to mid 2010s. This is kind of taking a lot of stuff from the early 2000s, mid 2000s in terms of the Kanye influence and all of that comment and all these things. Um, yeah, it's really great. It's just like I was like, wow, how did this come out of nowhere? Why is it so good? Usually with your first album, when you're in like pretty obscure areas, like there's like you can tell the production quality is gonna be a little bit lower, the mic quality isn't gonna be as good, the recording might be a little bit sketchy. All of it sounds really, really fantastic though, and it's just incredible. So yeah, it's amazing. I need to listen to it more. I just heard it for the first time today, but there is definitely something here for both of them, and I think they've got a fan base with them now for whatever they're gonna do next. So this is a true underground gem that just kind of popped up out of nowhere. So invest early, get on the train. It's a really fun album. 37 minutes, feels incredibly replayable too. Um, but yeah, awesome album. I don't know where it came from, but that almost adds to the kind of mysticism of this thing. So very good. I feel like we don't get stuff like this too much nowadays, especially with something that sounds like this. So this is something where it's like it almost felt like I was like walking in Times Square and someone handed me a CD, and I'm like, okay, this is great, which never happens. So yeah, very, very good. I think that's it. I don't know if I had anything else. Checking through my stuff here. No, I've just been jamming Interpol and Stereo Lab, and then Billy Woods, of course, still trying to trudge through that thing. So, yeah, I think that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Really?
That's it.
Wow.
We're out of music.
That's not true.
We 100%ed music.
Not
I
quite.
didn't talk about the 2 Boldy James releases and the next one that's coming out tomorrow. So.
Of course. There's probably going to be...
Bro has dropped 3 albums in May.
There's probably going to be 3 more before this podcast comes out.
Yeah, I haven't listened to any of them.
Out of the
It's
date.
going to be a while.
Well, I actually have some music news that's kind of fun and interesting to me. Runner is making a new album.
Oh, yes.
This was announced way in advance, if you ask me. And honestly, the rollout is kind of terrible because half of the album's out already, and the album comes out on August 29th. So 3 months away, and there's already 5 singles. And one of them came out in October. So...
Oh.
Yeah.
Weekend strategy.
It's a little bit of a weekend strategy. I honestly don't know if this was going to be an album. I don't know the backstory of this because it feels like Untitled October Song is just like, maybe it is like, I always think of Sob Rock by John Mayer, where they just like, here, add New Light because it's the biggest single that you have, and we just need to add it to the album so that the album has more sales or it has more streams. I don't know if that's totally what's going on here because Untitled October Song has just over 100,000 streams. So I don't think it's like going for that. It isn't like that big of a hit. That being said, it is weird to close your album with a song called Untitled October Song when the album comes out in August.
That is true.
It's a little odd, but I am pumped. The singles that I've heard, I think I've only really listened to Untitled October Song and Coinstar, which was the first single that was like in the same kind of art style as the album cover. So yeah, new album, August 29th, A Welcome Kind of Weakness. Which I've got to say, his 2 albums have like really good titles because the first one is Like Dying Stars Were Reaching Out. I'm like, that's kind of sick. I like that. So yeah, I don't know if that's something we'll do on the channel. I don't know if you're interested. Or if I'll just listen to it by myself. But
I've heard everything I like. Everything I've heard from Runner has been good. So
okay.
I don't know if it's the most reactable album, but we could do it.
Okay. I don't know either. What have you heard by Runner?
What have I heard by Runner? I think I've heard a couple songs off of Always Repeating,
Okay.
um, and then maybe a couple off the album after that. But that's it.
Okay. Okay. Well, that changes. Well, never mind. My favorite song is Your Name on a Grain of Rice, which
Of
is
course,
on Always Repeating.
I've definitely heard that one.
It's a
Yes.
good song. But yeah, maybe. Honestly, we don't have to decide right now. It's it's 3 months away. So, but that's coming out, and I'm excited. He's actually going to be here in October, so it'll be nice. Maybe I'll go see him.
Go see Runner.
I will. I don't know if my friend here that likes going to concerts likes Runner. Doesn't really seem like it's her scene, but who knows? Maybe she'll surprise me. But is that it? Oh, I listened to the album Cease to Begin by Band of Horses.
The horses.
Band of Horses, which I don't know anything about this group. I was listening to, I think it was Shore by Fleet Foxes, and then their song Deadlift Shrimp played after Shore was done, and I really liked it. So then I went to the album, and the album is nothing like Deadlift Shrimp, but what I did get was a really, really interesting 2000s alternative shoegazy folk Ween-esque maybe. There's a lot of like different things going on. I think Ween might actually be like the closest thing I know to like what they're doing here, because like every single song is a different vibe. But it isn't like comedic like Ween is. It's just it's like straightforward. But it is very, very nice. Really, really like groovy, atmospheric kind of alt music. I think I'm going to add that album to my wheel eventually. So I do really, really like it. And what else did I listen to? Oh, I also listened to complete switch up. I listened to Jackson Browne's album Running on Empty, which is an album I don't know if I've ever heard the whole thing for. I've heard obviously Running on Empty because I absolutely love Forrest Gump. And I've also heard The Loadout, which is one of my favorite 70s rock songs. So I decided to listen to the whole thing, and it's really G-dang solid. That's what I'll say. I do really like Jackson Browne. He has a nice, it's rare. He's 85, 90, 100 years old, and he still has a full head of hair. He still looks exactly like he did in the 70s. It's just gray. So good on you, Jackson Browne. Thanks for playing at Occupy Wall Street with Dawes. Seems like a pretty chill guy. So check out Jackson Browne album. Maybe that'll be a semi-yikes. I don't know how you feel about Jackson Browne.
I don't have much experience, but I'd be down.
Okay. Maybe. I need more semi-yikeses.
I know.
I don't know if Jackson Browne will. I think you're gonna like it. That's the thing that's tough, is that I think Jackson Browne is pretty comparable to like maybe like Eagles or Tom Petty, like that kind of zone. And I don't really see you disliking either of those groups.
No, that's not stuff I like go out of my way to listen to, but it's also like I recognize the quality in it. So
Yeah, Running on Empty is kind of interesting because I think it might be a concept album, but like maybe the lightest use of that term, in that I think it's like pretending to be a live album, and that like a lot of the transitions between tracks are like crowd noise or like him talking to the bandmates, and that's kind of a cool vibe. And that
I enjoy that.
yeah, it's kind of a cool gimmick. And a lot of the songs are about touring and like being on the road. It's like the quintessential road trip album. So if you're going to be driving to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and you need something to listen to, I think that this would be a good pick. Driving through the mountains in the desert. Be pretty sick. That's all I'm gonna say. But I think that's it for new stuff that I listen to. I'm listening to. I've been going back to the Tracy Chapman self-titled album. That is on my wheel, so now we just have to wait for that to go. I've been listening to Age of Ads, or Odds, I guess, as the kids say.
Yeah, I always just say Age of Ads.
Yeah, I mean,
Love the tongue more.
it does. And then today I re-listened to Seed of a Seed, and I forgot that album is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
We should put our other one on the wheel.
that is a great point. Yeah, maybe I'll add that. I guess that's a good. So I don't yet, is it just that I need to start a garden?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll add that. That'll be a good one. I do like me some Haley Hendricks, even though I disagree with her spelling of her last name.
Me too.
I think
it's a crime.
I think it is also.
I think you bought too many letters.
I think so. I was thinking about that today. I'm like, you've just chosen that your last name is going to be an explanation. Because every single time you're going to get interviewed, everyone is going to ask, why did you do that? Which is a fair question.
If that is her birth last name, then like that's just what's going on with that.
I guess that's a good point. I assumed that she was making it up. Or it was some sort of goof. But I guess I should see if that's her actual last name. I have bad news. That appears to be her last name. Sorry. Didn't mean that.
Well, honestly, like, still, like, why?
Yeah. For those who don't know, maybe it's spelled Heynderickx. Hendricks.
That's just too much.
Hendricks. But
I mean, it is the most Oregon thing I've ever heard in my life. But
that's true. I honestly can't believe that's her real last name.
yeah,
She should just change it. Man, imagine every single time you like go to like a doctor's office or literally anywhere that asks for a name, you have to explain that. Like just change it to the like normal spelling of Hendricks.
Well, it's weird because like usually when people immigrate to the U.S., they take their family names and they usually like simplify it.
Yeah.
So it's more like streamlined with the English language. I feel like they added. I feel like let's just make it the most complicated thing.
Now this just raises more questions than I thought it was straightforward. I thought her name was just Haley Hendricks and she just decided to be weird about it. But no. Okay. Wow. Sorry. I feel bad now.
I like your music.
I really like your music. Seed of a Seed, I think, was number 2 of my favorite, my second favorite album of last year. It was really, really good. It says here that she's Filipino. That does not strike me as a Filipino last name.
No.
Okay, I need to stop looking at this because this is a whole thing. She graduated from Portland State University with a business degree. That's awesome. Wow.
Business.
Oh, wow. She's really putting that to use. Nice. All right. Check out Haley Hendricks. She makes very good music. But I think that's it. That's it, I think. Okay. Goodbye.